And action. And welcome everybody. This is PnP Weekly episode 213. A few more episodes and we'll go for a quick summer break. Few weeks summer break. Quick.
Define quick.
Yeah, true.
In other words, we will drop off the face of the earth for a few months, not for 2 months.
Yes, it is 5th of June, 2023. We are back finally. I would say this is the first week, or it feels like that it's finally calming down a bit. I know that you have a pretty chaotic week because of the Teams hackathon, but you know, the conference craziness and all of that is a bit slowing down. But a few more things, and then I think we're heading to a summer break or summer slowness, which is good. So there's a bit of a time of doing brainstorming and other stuff, not just execute. So
In theory, yes.
Cool. Today we have a visitor, Rodrigo Pinto from the Storm Technologies, and we talk about his career, his being an MVP and being a Microsoft 365 architect and all of that stuff. I think there's some new, let's say, I wasn't quite aware of everything what we talked about. So there was new aspects.
There you go. We learn as much as everybody in the community learns. We learn too. That's exactly why we're doing this, so that we can learn more about people with whom we have been working
by sharing.
For
because yes, you learn by sharing. So that's the whole point. Let's jump on that interview right away with Rodrigo, and then we will come back for the articles. Excellent. Let's get started. Welcome, Rodrigo, to the PnP Weekly show. Good to have you on the show. We haven't actually had you in past, which is a weird thing. Why? Well, why?
Yeah, it only took us like 5 years to find you.
I'm not that small, right?
Now let's do.
Let's do it properly. You need 5 years to prepare. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. We had to make the right script. We had to
exactly.
We get that guy because behind you on the wall, for those folks who only see the audio, who only have the audio and don't see it, like you have a full wall of Fantastic Four, Captain America shield, Marvel. So it's a kind of this common theme, like you're a superhero, like you're very aloof. Like I've never seen you and Iron Man the same time in a room. So
that's true.
There's a bit of that.
That is true.
And it gets worse. Look.
Oh, there we go.
Ooh. That's a nice, very creative space. I can imagine. That's really cool. Yeah. So it's a full shelf of action figures and all of that stuff. So really, really cool.
Yeah. That's my drug.
And you also have the Thor, the hammer.
Yeah. This one.
Mjolnir.
And you can even move that. That's good.
Oh, yeah. And it makes sounds and whatever. I'm not putting the batteries here. But yeah. It makes sounds.
Yeah.
So you like the Marvel stuff? No, just kidding.
Nah.
Yeah, DC fan, clearly.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing that's kind of funny. I usually don't use any wallpaper on Teams. Usually I do the chat.
You have one already. Like, why would you blur this out?
Yeah, it's like an icebreaker.
Sure.
Let's do it.
Now, Rodrigo, let's recap a bit. So let's do a quick intros. Who are you and what do you do for a living? And then let's get back on the Marvel discussion after that.
Okay, so my name is Rodrigo Pinto. So I work in Microsoft Technology since 1998. So I started with the SharePoint world in 2001 with the first edition. So what do I do? Usually, so I'm a developer. Well, basically, that's the point. Currently, I'm doing a solution architecture for a company called Storm Technology that's based in Ireland. And basically, what I do is I mess around with preparing all the projects and the development teams for starting a project in SFX, in Azure, in PowerShell, anything related to M365 integrations and all those kind of things. Yeah, that's what I do.
And then you're MVP as well, right?
Yeah, and I'm an MVP as well. Yeah. So I'm an MVP for the last 12 years, I think. Yeah. Sorry.
And superhero, obviously.
And a superhero. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So who is your favorite Marvel character?
Yeah, that's actually a good question.
I like Wolverine.
You can only pick one.
And
Wolverine is good. Yeah.
Wolverine. Yeah.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're eagerly waiting for the next Deadpool after the those
That one is
announcements.
cool also. It's
Yeah.
a little different.
Well, yeah, Deadpool is really, really good as well. But yeah, the Deadpool plus Wolverine in the same movie, yeah, that sounds
That'll be
interesting.
funny.
Let's see.
Yeah. Especially, well, at least for now, Marvel has not been able to do movies. I don't know why we're talking about movies, but it's fine. It's amazing to see DC messing up things, and they have such a good set of characters and everything else, but the movies are not the same. They're missing the right level of comedy, right level of balance, right level of things. And then when they go full comedy, then it goes overboard and splatter. And it's like, well, okay, this is funny, but still, this is missing the the
link.
But even on the Marvel side, like if you look at the what's it called, Thor: The Love of Thunder, there's like, nah, that's not my thing.
Yeah, that's actually one I hated that one.
Yeah,
it's that one, and there was one with the Doctor Strange, and the last one on the Doctor Strange was kind of weird. It's not aligned with what they usually do.
Yeah. So I think if anything else, we see that they want to experiment, attract new audiences, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Even at that scale, right?
And we've been having the Marvel, let's say, universe within the movies now for 20 years, 25 years?
MCU,
MCU. And of course, you need to start looking into how do you refresh. Every product has a life cycle.
Hit refresh.
Single
there
product
you go. If anything else, hit refresh.
Exactly. So it's
3 years. It's 3 years, I think. Last time I looked.
You need to rename some things. What?
Yes. Now, let's go back on a bit on your work, being a architect and integration. What does that mean in practice and SPFX? So, is it are you writing code? What kind of projects you're actually building on? So
we have a couple of projects around the Office 365, and one of them is actually extending the Office 365. The document managed part. So we create a couple of add-ons and extensions and all those kind of things for managing documents. There's another one that we create for bulk scanning documents. We do intranets. I do a lot of migrations also attached to that part with transformation from the old legacy things to the new ones.
Is that still a thing? Actually, just out of curiosity, is that still a thing? The migrations. So
it is. And
isn't everybody already in cloud? What do you mean?
No. And actually, one of the things funny that happened on the last conference I've been on, the Thrive last week, was one of the requests that the organizers did for the speakers was actually to give more on-premises sessions. Yeah. And one of the ones that I did was a mix between on-prem and cloud. Was like, how can you develop currently for on-premise ready for the cloud, or using the cloud concepts and methods for you to actually don't have the bottlenecks that you usually have on-prem, right? And actually, I used one of your decks, Vesa, the one that, I don't know if it's a good thing or not. It's a good thing.
Oh my god! What have I done now?
Exactly. What have I done?
Brace.
Remember I think it was the AIMA. Before the PnP exists. There was a session that you did. I think it was with Steve Walker, with migrating. What was it? We're actually provisioning master pages and all components
from
outside.
Farm solution to to cloud friendly technologies. Yeah.
Exactly.
Which year was that, Vesa?
2017,
maybe 2018. Probably. So something like that. Yeah.
And the concept is still the same. We're still using that part. For the cloud, you need to use the same guidance and the same concept, right? And for the on-prem, it's exactly the same thing. Avoid to use the extreme balance resources on the on-prem and do things like that. And actually, it works very well. Yeah.
How do you relate it on-prem? So how do you see where are customers? Are they still using 2013, even though that's now out of support, and then they're looking into, oh my God, we need to move to cloud? Or are they moving with the on-premises version because 16, 19 subscription edition and all of that?
Yeah, they're moving. I think there's I have a couple of clients that still on the 2013. We are migrating to 19 and to the subscription edition.
Yep.
They are considering each in each interaction, in each thing that they do, they are actually considering the way they are implementing. So there's a concern regarding avoid to use the farm solutions strategy and more external services. So there's a concern on that part, and we're starting to see a little popping up hybrid scenarios also. So it's kind of interesting, yeah.
Are these happening mainly in UK or is it across Europe? Sorry, Waldek. So
it's across Europe, basically. Okay.
And so the interesting thing is, right, because if I think back about how you would build cloud-ready solutions for on-prem, well, that would kind of require you to, like, thinking back way back when, well, you would need to spin up IIS server somewhere to host your cloud, because there's like you couldn't deploy anything to your farm as you could in a past. So do they really go through, let's say, the hoops for that just to be ready to deploy things to Azure eventually when they go to the cloud? Do they really do that, like all of the extra hoops on-prem?
It's a mix. It depends. If it's more like an insurance company, or if it's a bank, they do it step by step, one at a time. Well, I got clients that usually although they are on-prem, whenever there's a new application to pop up, they want it to be cloud ready, even if it's on-prem right now. So it's cloud ready for us to actually migrate that part to the cloud itself.
How do you then design and do cloud ready stuff? Can you do a kind of a top 3 tips or whatever? What should be considered whenever you are doing this kind of things?
I'll PowerPoint, make a nice diagram that always
usually
it works in my PowerPoint.
usually the idea comes from the client initially, because what's business critical that you want to change, and that will be migrated to the cloud. That's the main point. And one of the things I didn't realize, I did realize a couple of years ago on the on-prem clients, the heavy stuff like on the SharePoint side, mostly they attach the things to the timer jobs on the on-prem. And it's not, I thought it was like simple stuff, but it's not. It's actually heavy calculations and heavy services running. So one of the things that we usually do, if it's operational, we use PowerShell in this case, right? And actually we use the PnP PowerShell, the old version still. I have clients that grab that version, the repo, and they do the updates that they need because it still works. Yep. And basically one of the things that we use, actually, it's for doing those kind of things, there's an open source tool called NSS, non-sucking service layer. It's actually the name of that thing. And basically what it does, it's like an app that can call another application, or can call a PowerShell script. So yeah, so it's kind of cool. It's basically the timer job. It's not a timer job anymore. It goes to a different machine just running that, and it's more visible. Right. Yeah.
So, basically, gradually. Yeah. Sorry, Waldek.
Yeah, that is something I wanted to ask, because way back when, there was like if you think about it, 2008, 9, maybe even 10, there was this, call it a fashion, call it a trend, to integrate everything into your farm. Like you would integrate with workflows, you would integrate with timer jobs, you would integrate with anything and everything, so that you benefit
service
from
applications,
disaster recovery. I mean, nobody has ever built that one, so that aside, just because you could doesn't mean you should, right? But I mean, if anything else, there was this big trend to integrate so that you benefit from the disaster recovery and backup strategies, and everything is into one. And then at some point, we kind of saw the light and decided, like, you don't want to deploy anything to the farm, like let the farm be whatever it is, and deploy everything externally with external resources, servers. So it's interesting to hear from you that there's still a lot of interest in bringing business apps into your farm, or exposing them in a farm, but kind of having them detached from it, so they are a separate thing, and you basically leave your farm optimized just to run the workload of your intranet.
Yeah, exactly. The sentence that usually I use, it's like look at SharePoint as a platform, not a product. So the point on that, whenever there's that click on the client's head, oh, I do understand. That's how the Office 365 works in the cloud. So it's basically the platform, and you put satellites or silos on applicational scopes for them to execute. Yeah. So that's the key point.
So with that, I wonder, like, does it feel to you at times like, I don't know if you recall, like in the 90s, there was this series where every day a guy would get a paper of tomorrow, and he would be like one day ahead of the game, where he would know what's coming. Does it feel to you the same way? Like, you already know what's in the cloud. You already know where we are with that. And then you talk to folks who are on-prem, who don't have the benefits of it, but you kind of prepare for that, knowing what's there already in a cloud. So does it feel to you the same way? Like, you have the advantage knowing what's in the cloud available now, translating that to folks who are on-prem, who are, I don't know, saying behind the curve, like, doesn't really do it justice, but like they don't have the latest investments because they're on-prem.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly the point. One of the things that I've noticed in the past 5 years was you have new people doing on-prem that doesn't have the background as we did, right? So they look at that thing as like, oh, this is a product like Access or like PowerPoint or something like that, and they add stuff without knowing what's behind it. And one of the things that I usually do with them is like, let me explain what exists here and what's the heaviest part on this system and what you can do to improve the performance on that. So that's the geeky part of me.
SP-Web and SP-Side.
I have to be super precise on Waldek, what you were saying related on knowing and seeing the future, which is completely true if you compare on-premises to the cloud. But just to be super clear for those who are watching or listening, the added, how would I put it? The features are from the cloud are not coming to on-prem. That's not a path anymore. So at some moment of a time, we actually, SharePoint 2019 was a fork from SharePoint Online, which is actually quite interesting. Fork from Online in 2017. So you basically had the same features, and then it took us 1 year to clean up all of the cloud dependencies, and then we shipped it. However, we learned from that as a Microsoft. We were like, okay, this was not smart at all. So now the 2019 then evolved to be a subscription edition, and that's an evolvement from 2019. It's not another fork from the cloud, because the cloud is already in a completely different technology. There's just no way we can anymore adapt that to be in on-prem, because that's taking advantage of all of the advanced capabilities in Azure. So
but imagine that we wanted to do that, right? And we wanted to ship to you a fork of that. Well, we will bring you a container ship with data center. There is your on-prem.
Well, there's the Azure on-prem version, isn't it? There is the on-prem version, which requires like 60 servers or whatever. So
but the concepts you can learn and can you apply on-prem. So that's the cool part. And basically, one part of my work is actually to make the ITs and the business trying to understand, if we're going to do something new, please consider this, and this. And then you have the stubborn ones that want to do it, okay? So the cost on that thing is attached to it. And there are the other ones that are a little bit more wide open and can do those kind of things. And it's kind of cool. Yeah. It's actually kind of cool to use the model of the cloud on-prem and to think what kind of things that you can remove from the platform on-prem and apply cloud concepts. That's kind of cool,
changing gears a little, right? So we talk a lot about the tech, SP-Apps and SP-Sides and the farms and all that. Another thing that is kind of attached to your work is being an MVP, right? And being an MVP can be really broad. You can organize user groups, you can write books, you can do, and you can do a lot of stuff. What's kind of your MVP recipe? Like, what is it that you do within community, and how did you even become a part of it?
That's funny. So when I received the first award in 2011, I received an email on the 1st of April saying, "Oh, you're an MVP or whatever," and it was like,
you're like, "No, that's a prank. That's gotta be a prank."
And I didn't care about that thing, and then I received another one, and someone called me, "So you're not accepting the award?" And I thought it was real, right? I didn't even knew what was an MVP back then. Somebody from the community nominated me and someone from Microsoft, because when in 2007, I think when the not 7, 8 SharePoint 2007 appeared, and the adoption of the product was huge here in Portugal. And the Microsoft only had like 2 or 3 guys helping on that part, and it was not enough for everybody. I used to work on a company called SIC. It's a TV station here in Portugal. And basically what we did, we created ourselves, we connected with the other clients, and we created a thing that's currently now just the SharePoint Portuguese community. And basically we create our role. So and then we have the guys from Microsoft actually, oh, did you solve this thing and whatever, but it was kind of cool. And I think that was the reason I was nominated as an MVP. Yeah.
Yep.
My recipe to do that. I'm not an MVP. I'm not doing the sharing and the community events to get the MVP. I'm doing because I like it. And if it was the perfect world, then I didn't need any money to pay anything. I just do that. That's my my Twitter handle is Scoutman. You know, Scouts. What is it, right? Helping other people. So I'm like that. I'm good.
It was more like I'm Scoutman. No.
Scout. That's
more on the sharing. Yeah, it's more on the sharing and all these kind of things. The recipe itself is just helping someone that what I suffered at the beginning. So I started on the financial stock market, right? And that thing was completely like processes and everything needs to be like that, or else you're fired, or else you have or else you have high risks and you have to pay high fees on that part. And back then, when I started with VB back then, right? So then I switched to C#. But back then we did have the documentation. Microsoft since the beginning had the documentation well curated, better than the other suppliers, right? But the rock road that we need to climb to reach, I never had it, right? So I'm fun to give. Well, look, for you to do this, you just need to do that and whatever. And it's kind of interesting because sometimes you think you're teaching, but you're not. You're actually learning more with the output from the others than actually, you know. And that's my goal. Yeah.
Yeah, that is really cool. Like every time we talk to somebody who is an MVP, and it's like I've been an MVP for 12 years in the past, and it never really registered to me that's like, but it's such a common trait, like the selflessness and like I want to help others. Like I am here, like the title, that is cool, but I'm not doing that for that. I'm doing it to genuinely help others because I want to help others advance. Yep. And it's interesting to see like how many folks in the community share that trait, have the same, look at things. It's not obvious, but then the more you talk to folks and the way they see it and what the awards mean to them and how do they approach it, it's kind of the common thing within all of them. So it's really
especially cool. In the MVPs who get renewed for years and years and years, because quite often we and it's completely fine. There's multiple kind of people. There are also those MVPs who got the MVP check mark and then they disappear and then they will not get renewed. It's okay. That was their objective, is to get the check mark and get an MVP, and that's completely fine option as well. We need, every single human has their own way of doing things. Of course, I prefer sharing is caring mentality, but it's
sharing is caring. Yes, caring.
Yeah,
it's sharing is caring.
You could be an MVP. You would be one. You were one.
I was never an MVP. So so go figure.
You've been inside for way too long.
Yeah, and it's a bit of trade-off. Just for you guys to see to know. So I got married in 2020. And 80% of the attendees on my wedding, the invitation, were from the MVP community.
Yeah.
Shoops, Spencer Arbor, everybody was like, my father was like, "Who the hell is this people? I don't know him." Oh, it's
IT computer people.
But I get that's a big part of the coming back on the conferences and where you were as well. And we met. We didn't have that time, too much time on the ECS, but it's actually, that's a big part of the MVP and the community is those connections and networking and getting to know people. And that networking helps in so many levels. Whenever you are running into a problem, you can actually ask. And of course, when the question comes from a person which you are connected, it's like, yeah, of course I'll help. It's a different mental mindset and the friendships and everything else.
Interesting thing, yeah, exactly, right. That we start with tech because that is like in a way easy thing for us to chat about, and then we kind of get to know each other and we bond, and it's exactly the example you gave. Like you invited folks to wedding, and I've seen other folks who had a wedding and invited other folks too. Like you basically become friends, right? Beyond tech, and then the tech is kind of like what was the beginning, but you kind of grow beyond that because there's so much more to person, and we've got many things in common, you know.
You grow as a professional, and you grow on your personal side also.
Yep.
So right. One of the things that used to happen to me, I went to the conference alone, right? I had to Lourdes with my wife, and I was alone. And I right now what I do whenever she can, I grab her and she goes along. So it's like a small time between us, like not a vacation because we're doing the sessions and helping the guys on that thing. But it's a way of life currently. Currently, I don't see myself like if I look at 10 years ago, who wonder I was talking with a Finn guy and with a Dutch on the computer, right? Like and we see each other on each one of the conference. So it's kind of so it's kind of growing factor on the personal side also.
True.
But I mean, it's also like because you've been around for so many years. Like I recall, I met your wife at one of the summits, and she's been like coming around with you like many times, and she also knows folks by herself, and people know her too. So it also like she like even her not being in tech, she knows the same folks, and they're also so friends, right? So and also like I've seen pictures from I don't know if that was in ECS or Thrive where she went out with other folks to have some fun, and well, that was event, right? That was a tech event, and she's a non-tech person, and they're and having fun too.
One thing that sometimes not bother me is it's like, oh, I go to a conference and how are you? And hey, where's Lourdes? That's my wife, and I was like, what the hell? Good morning, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice to see you too.
People are asking.
It's even worse.
The better half, right? People want to see the better half of you. So
that's exactly it. But yes. That's the point.
Now, coming back on a bit on the conferences and recent conferences, how was the ECS for you? So any kind of feelings in? It was a really big event, 2,500.
It was very good. So there was I think that the people was eager to have those kind of on-site sessions and to actually. My session was managing Microsoft 365 assets with Azure Runbooks, and my session I was blown away because one of the things I usually do, I'm a little bit social, as you may know this, right? So just a little bit. One of the things I did, like just raise your hand and ask questions during the session because I like a lot of discussions, feedbacks, and all these kind of things. So they actually did, and I think it was one of the ones that I had more feedback, good and bad, and what's bad and what I'm doing. And currently, right now, even I have a bunch of LinkedIn and Twitter's message to reply on that part. And that's kind of awesome. It's like, you can do this and do that, but I'm doing this. Oh, that's a good idea. I can do that also, but try to do this because it's better. You know?
Yep.
Yeah. You learn from them too.
That's the point. That's the point.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why sharing is good because of course you learn from them and you get ideas and all of that stuff. Really, really cool.
Yeah,
and of course
it is the mindset of like not you trying to be that know-it-all because again like you have been around for many years, and while you know a lot, like there's always something new to learn. There is new constraint to take into account. There is new things, and it's just so much like the pace is insane. So it's just physically impossible to know it all. So the sooner you kind of shed that mentality, it's like, no, like I am here to tell you what I know, but heck, I will learn from you too. So let's make it a common thing, right?
Yeah, that's exactly the point. Exactly. Yeah.
Now, looking onto the timing, we need to be careful because we've been going over a few times with Waldek recently. We've been chatting too much. No, me? Who?
That never happened.
No, Rodrigo, if somebody wants to be, what's your kind of tips for doing that? I can pretty much, from our discussions, I can draw a few conclusions, but let's be explicit. Any kind of a top 3 tips? How do I get to be an MVP? Or how do I get to be involved in the community? Somebody is like, oh my God, this sounds really cool. How do I get involved?
Okay, so there's a lot of international and local events happening. One of the things, when I start looking at Microsoft things, usually I went to the conference, and there's a lot of user groups and a lot of local conference to get into.
Yeah.
The collab days, we're having the collab days promotion, collab days in Lisbon in 25 of November, and basically those events are quite good because are smaller than the big conference, right? And it's easy for you to reach out to the speakers and to actually interact in a more personal way than the other ones. And one of the things usually I do to the guys, I want to be an MVP. You want to help people, not be an MVP, right? So humble, open mind on other people's opinions. That's the main thing. I think the most important one is be humble. You saw, because you were the one that asked me, oh, you were MVP also. I never tell that I'm an MVP, or only on LinkedIn, all these kind of things, because it's me. That's, if I'm not an MVP, I don't care. I will do the same thing, share whatever. I don't need the blue badge to do anything, right? So it's on me. It's and that's the Portuguese tip from being an MVP. Again, for the ones that are listening, sing is the right word for yes.
Yes, the right word.
Really?
The right word.
Okay, but that's singing. No, it's
No, I see why these guys sometimes you do get this thing afterwards.
No, we don't.
No, you don't? Okay.
No.
Thank God I didn't swear.
So I guess from a timing perspective, I guess it's time to close up. Any last things to talk about, Waldek? What's happening this week? Anything interesting what you're working on without customer names or
nothing
things?
Nothing at all.
So let's do a quick round.
This is a big week. So we are now right in progress of a Teams global hack, right? So it's a virtual hackathon for everybody and anybody to try and build apps for Teams. Last week we had a keynote from Archana, Amanda, John Miller, to basically tell everybody, like, why would you even care about apps for Teams? What are the benefits and how would you start? So that was a really great way for us to start. And today, surprise, surprise, or actually as you're listening to this, it was yesterday, but today on Monday, June 5, you, Vesa, will tell us everything about using SPFX and how you can use that to build Teams tabs with SPFX. So that will be a really exciting thing there. And we have a few more talks aligned throughout the week about AI, right? So we will have tomorrow, or as you are listening today, on the day that is published on Tuesday, June the 6th, we'll have Scott Hanselman and David Rousset show us building bots. And then we will have Sid Upal and Joey Glock talk about AI in Teams, right? So really a bunch of exciting talks throughout the week, all about building apps for Teams. If you haven't joined yet, do definitely join, because you have nothing to lose and everything to win. We have cool prizes to give away, so there's that.
Yeah. And especially within the case of SPFX, if you build a web part, every web part is actually a Microsoft Teams app.
So you have your Teams app.
Exactly. If you have a web part, you already have your Teams app. So that's actually so.
So that will be the trick that we will not tell anybody about. How to use it and how to bring your existing SharePoint framework web parts to Microsoft Teams, right?
Yes, that's what we're going to talk about today. Anyway, Rodrigo, what's happening for you this week? Anything interesting? No more travel, right? Is it more relaxed now for a while?
More or less. I still have two. So I have the collab days Amsterdam next week on Saturday, and I have the collab days Central Europe in Zurich the other week, and then off we go. I'm not doing anything else regarding the technology.
Finally done with it now.
Prepping. What's your sessions on those? What are you talking?
So in Amsterdam is regarding tips and tricks on PnP PowerShell and PowerShell in itself. And in Zurich, I'm doing the Manage Azure Runbooks, the same, the similar one that I did on the PCS.
Yeah. That's actually a kind of a sidetrack. I have to say this. I know we're taking extra time, but
and then it's Waldek. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's my fault, right?
It's only time from a Waldek's lunch.
This one thing, and then you're going to talk like for 10 minutes.
But when people are submitting. When people are submitting sessions to the conferences and all of that, it's a great reminder that you can submit the same session and you can actually modify and evolve the session. And one of the tips what I used to use, or the mental mindset with the sessions, there are certain sessions which we use for years and years for workshops and all of that, but you should always think the session to be 80% complete after each session. So you're basically always adjusting and optimizing the additional 20%. And then after the session, you're always getting a feedback back and they're like, oh, that's a great idea. Coming back on the discussions and interactivity within the session, it's like, oh, they said a really cool thing. Okay, let's add again a 20% more and adjust things, and poof, and now it's an 80. Now it's 180. So
it's never the same. You're right, exactly. Yeah. It's never the same session that you do. Although probably the guidelines are. The structure is the same. You keep spending more time on one thing than the other. It depends on the audience, actually.
Yep.
Plus, things change over time, right? So new patterns emerge, new features are being shipped, and you can incorporate all of that. So if anything else, like you can just make up a title and roll with it, and the contents will be always different.
True.
We call that evergreen.
Evergreen, yes, indeed.
Evergreen.
Now, quickly, weekly from my side, what am I doing now? Well, we're doing that show today, community calls. I'm prepping. I will have week off next week, which is actually pretty mind-boggling. I can't remember. Last time I probably had a week off.
What have you done to Vesa?
It's a
on last summer, because we didn't have proper time off during even on holiday season. So because in Finland it's dark anyway on December. Why would you have time off? Because it's freaking dark.
Well, you have time off to do things you love to do, which is working. So it's like,
No. It's sharing is what I love to do. Anyway, but yeah, so prepping. It's interesting to notice Monday, we're recording this on Monday, and I know that on Friday I need to get all of the stuff for next week kind of scheduled and done. So already prepping on all of the things and making sure that the timings and scheduling, exactly, catching up and cleaning, not taking any promises and doing anything extra this week, just on the required things, and that's it. So on Friday, hopefully, you can just close the computer.
How can I make myself obsolete in a week?
Yeah. You're avoiding the calls during your holiday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we do always do that thing also. So that's exactly the point.
Anyway. Thank you, Rodrigo. Really cool. Good to catch up. I love the background. As I said, maybe when we were recording or maybe we were not recording, there's no point actually having a custom background for you because it is pretty cool. So
I'm that cool. I'm that.
Yes.
Instead of buy me a coffee, buy me a toy.
That's actually good.
I need to put that thing in. Yeah, actually,
that's actually a good idea.
Buy me a toy.
Buy me a toy.
Now the Marvel toy. No, don't get weird. Don't get weird.
Just about to say the new shit, Batman.
Yeah, don't get weird.
Cool. But thank you, Rodrigo, for joining. Really cool to catch up. And it's good to see you in the ESS as well. Looking forward to the next time. But I think we're slowly heading to the summer vacation period as well, which is great. So everybody will have a bit more time off, except those who are in the southern hemisphere where the winter is coming. It's not of summer. What's this?
You mean like Australia and their
like Australia.
Winter of 21 degrees. Oh.
Exactly. Yeah, we've been chatting about this one with Cameron a few times, who lives in Australia.
Oh, yeah, it's winter, 18 degrees, 19. You're like, what? Yeah, it's cold.
That's not winter. Yeah, that's not winter.
Yeah.
They don't know what winter is.
But cool. We'll jump on the show. We'll jump then on the weekly articles. But thank you, Rodrigo, for this one. Really cool.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
buddy. Next. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
And excellent. Thank you, Rodrigo, one more time. Really awesome to catch you. And I'm still so jealous about that background. So So I give enough, for example, Legos and all of that, because there just is not enough room in our house to start, putting things. You need a bigger house, maybe, but moving is always hard.
Not to have your room suitable for Legos.
Sure, that's true as well. Yeah, you need to prioritize the limited space, what you have and what you put where, and it's a matter of preference. We could get rid of this TV here and put some Legos
and
there.
The cabinet replace it with a shelf.
Absolutely.
Put shelf all behind you, like floor to ceiling.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Opportunity.
There we go. Done. Anyway, so thank you for that interview. Let's jump on the weekly articles. We're intentionally trying to be a bit quicker on this time. So we'll start with what's new with Microsoft Teams, typical monthly summary from May. So this is typically shared in the end of the March or first days of the next month, calling out all of the different features, capabilities, and all of that. So absolutely brilliant stuff, absolutely great stuff on covering things. There's something what we'll talk about a bit more detailed, for example, the intelligent meeting recap here as well, but great summary. Now, related on the intelligent meeting recap, so this is now in the Teams Premium. Teams Premium is now available, and this is actually incredibly cool. It's just mind-boggling how well it actually works, and you can actually ask from the AI. The summary is you can ask questions, you can ask things, and it will override all of the things where you were mentioned and all of that stuff. It's just surprisingly, it's like, wow, catching up on things. So, and yes, it's part of the premium offering because it is AI is costly. I guess that's the justification for this, but there's a lot of this is one of those features where you can kind of justify that you will save time. So therefore, the money is well spent. So time is money, quite simply.
Yeah.
So this one is the total economical impact of Microsoft Teams as a platform. Interesting article title, and basically is evaluating different options and kind of the value of what the platform is providing. Not necessarily just on a platform as a development platform perspective, rather as a offering. I would say that from my perspective, actually, the terminology as a platform in the top title is a bit misleading because it's not about the extensibility as such. It's more about the value and return of investment on things. So, It's a platform still, but yes. Moving on the latest articles. Similar monthly thing from SharePoint side, May 2023 summary. We started May 2023 in Microsoft 365 conference in Las Vegas, where Russia's and Jeff had a discussion on the stage related on the importance of AI, but that's why that picture is there. And then a lot of new features, capabilities, not just on SharePoint, because SharePoint powers a lot of features behind the scenes across the Microsoft 365 stack, so calling out all of the Viva and other things as well. So really cool. So what's happening in June 14th, Waldek?
I don't know. Ask me anything for SharePoint, OneDrive list, and Stream. I guess this will be an opportunity for everybody in the world to reach out to folks from other groups on SharePoint, OneDrive list, and Stream, and ask them anything and everything you would like to know about these products, where it's functionality, what's coming, why things are the way they are. This is really the opportunity for you to engage with these folks. So if you're interested, keep that in mind and pencil it in your calendar.
Yep, absolutely. Nice selection of different products, SharePoint, OneDrive, List, and Stream, and a specific time for all of them. So really cool option as well. Microsoft 365 Monthly Digest, May 2023. Again, a monthly summary from a administrative side on the storyline on what we're rolling out. And then we move into the developer block. I actually have all of those open. So Zach Rosenfeld is one of our GPMs, I think, and one of the features he owns all up is a introduction of is a Microsoft Syntax repository services, and we basically rolled out Microsoft Syntax repository services in the build announcements. So that was actually really cool. You can start building isolated apps and take advantage, your apps can take advantage of isolated storage, which is in the compliance and legal ownership of a customer. And that's actually really cool. So again, making sure that the files will never leave, for example, the tenant, they will not go to Azure and the partner thing. No, they are stored in an isolated thing here. So cool thing. And there are news articles on that. Then you talk about the Graph Developer Proxy 0.8.
Correct. So last week we released new preview version of Microsoft Graph Developer Proxy, version 0.8. And the biggest feature we've got to announce is something that is addressing one of the biggest pain point developers around the world have, auth, right? In this version, we introduced a feature that allows you to monitor, to record a number of calls that your app does to Microsoft Graph. And then based on the calls that we intercept, we will give you back a list of the minimal permissions across all of these calls.
Oh, that's cool.
That your app needs to access them. So no longer you will need to keep track of what are the different calls that I have, what are the operations, and then looking each one of them back in the docs and then combining. None of that. You can just run your app, and then whatever calls we intercept, we will give you the list. Like, you just add that and you're good to go. And this is really a game-changing thing. So we're really interested to hear how people will like it and what else can we do in that space, because this is one of the areas where people lose a lot of time and for no reason at all. So
really cool. Great tooling for sure. Now I released 2 blog posts last week as well. Of course I did. I have a summary this week. I'm like, was that last week? Okay, interesting. So, but Microsoft Viva Connection solutions are now available in the Microsoft App Stores, and this is a really cool thing. So making sure that the Viva Connection specific solutions are being surfaced under the Viva tab within the Viva filter in the App Stores, so making it easier for people to find them. And then we also talk about the fact that we have the suggested cards feature and nowadays in the card designer, so really cool stuff as well. And I did a quick video on that as well, explaining how it works. Just people can then choose, do they want to read or do they want to have a look on the video around how it works. The other kind of a semi-related, because SharePoint Framework powers Viva Connections, we also released the SharePoint Framework 1.17.3 version last week, a relatively small, minor version, but as we are addressing issues and feedback and findings, it's good to get it out. So we evolve things gradually more frequently rather than, once every 6 months. So better this way. And then there was something really cool about the Teams AI library. What is this, Waldek?
Exactly. We announced new library, or we released new library, which simplifies building Teams bots connected to AI. So this is really cool, because AI has been a really big topic, and now we have this new way to build these bots. So if you're interested in how you can infuse your Teams bots with AI, definitely check it out, because it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, I think the key point here is that it's helping you to figure out the intent. So rather than what are we trying to, what is the person trying to do? Again, the cool thing also to remember is that we will never send any of the customer data to the AI. So we never use the customer data to train the AI, which is an important thing as well. So privacy, security. And there's a new documentation related on that one as well. How does it work and what does it actually mean and all of that. So really cool set of features. We also did announce deprecation of SHA-1 on OneDrive Personal. I can spill the beans and say that I published this blog post and I read it 5 times and I don't understand what it is. But in short, if you are a partner or ISVs who has implemented something on the OneDrive Personal, so consumer side, and you have a dependency on SHA-1 property, that property will go away. Highly unlikely, but apparently a possibility. So sounds good.
Hence the announcement.
Exactly. Better communicate than just get rid of the things. And then CLI for Microsoft 365 6.8 is out. Really cool. 18 new commands.
Exactly.
Wow.
40 enhancements, right? And also another thing, we brought AI to CLI for Microsoft 365. So we have this thing where directly from the command line, you can ask like, hey, how can I upgrade my project? How can I do things? And we will try to our best to use the docs that we've got to give you an answer with, the commands and everything that is related to CLI. So we're really excited about this new way of helping folks discover CLI without offloading all of the work on them. And making them, okay, now you need to go through our docs. Where are our docs? I need to find things, but how do you search for things if you don't know the right words? Well,
Exactly.
Hope that we address that. So we'll be very interested to hear with the team. What do you think of this? Does it work? Is it relevant? Is it helpful, or is it rubbish?
Yeah, I think this is a great example where the AI will help, because again, you can use your natural language to explain what I'm trying to do X and Y and Z. Can you help me? And then the AI figures out, oh, that is your intent. Okay, I got it for you. So really cool. We also had a release of a Microsoft Viva, the Viva Connection extension toolkit, which is now available as a V1 Viva Connection toolkit for Visual Studio Code. And you can use that to build also SharePoint framework solutions. Any SharePoint framework solution behind the scenes is using CLI, Microsoft 365, and Yeoman Generator for SPFX, and it is actually a really great tool. So great work for Adam to get the version 1.0 out, and there's a lot of cool stuff in here. Now, a few blog posts, Casper. Good, Casper. You added your name here.
Yes,
so
he added his name. Yes.
Good, Casper. Deleting file versions to reduce the SharePoint storage consumption blog post. So basically talking about how can you reduce the storage consumption. Wow. Yes. That was a consultant way of explaining what I mean.
Yes. This article, so you can decidedly file to reduce consumption, which describes how you can reduce consumption. Yes. Bingo.
Yes.
Next.
Thank you, Casper. Weekly update from the Tom Morgan related on basically recapping what's available and those announcements, and also Tom's kind of feelings and announcements related on that. Tom is doing a really good job on every single Monday getting this out. Awesome stuff. Agnes Molnar had a blog post related on custom results types in Microsoft Search. A quite important thing and a concept to understand when we are trying to find the relevant data and information which is available, and how we can then surface those to be available also for end users. So really cool stuff. Message Center had the latest show, OneDrive Simplify Sharing, Connections, News, Notifications, Teams Work Hours and Locations. So episode 287, recapping on what's coming new. Really cool stuff. Andrew Connell, Microsoft 365 Developer News, Microsoft Build 2023. So a good summary on recapping those news in here. So good stuff to call out. And then a quick 3 videos. So first of all, Piazza's Tech Bites, episode 250. Congratulations, Paula.
Congratulations.
And this is the part 1 on a longer series on Microsoft Teams Toolkit 5.0. So explaining the capabilities and things. 8 minutes, a quick recap. Paula is really awesome on explaining the value of this tooling. There was a new video from Microsoft Power Platform YouTube channel, and that's basically the Power Platform Connection, episode 15. Want to call them out as well, which you hosted by David and Hugo, and Louis Baybat was the visitor within last week. So good discussion related on what Louis has been doing related on blocking. There's a lot of blocking what he's been doing, and also growing to be an MVP as well. So really cool. That's it for now. That's a quick recap because of time constraints, right?
Yes. So long, and thanks for all the fish. We will be here next week.
Yes. We will be here, yes, next week. Absolutely. Thanks, Waldek. Thanks, Rodrigo, and we'll be back within a week. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.